views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everybody, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and welcome to Open BXRX. We've got it going on, got a lot of things going on for you on this show on BronxNet. Coming up on today's show, we'll speak to a state elected official about how our community can make their presence felt this election season. Then we'll learn about how one organization is pushing for hip-hop and culture inclusion in education. Then we'll speak to a registered dietitian who will share tips on how to cook healthy family meals without sacrificing labor. After that, Bobby C has the latest in the world of sports, and then we'll sit down with a representative whose organization has played an important role in New York's response to COVID-19. So stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Back, everybody. Our next guest is the Assemblyman. Actually, he's our first guest. He's the Assemblyman of the 79th District of New York, and he's gonna discuss the importance of voting in this year's upcoming election. We'll probably touch on some census stuff. And please welcome to the show the DNC Vice Chair and Assemblyman Michael Blake. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Always good to see you, Doctor. How are you doing?
I know we gotta take a deep breath. You've been working hard, man. Every time I talk to you, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, and you're bouncing, man. I guess this is the time to do it, right?
You know, this is game time. You know, we're less than 8 weeks out from Election Day. You know, less than a few weeks from the census. So many things happening all at the same time.
Yeah,
we can't sit on the sidelines. We got to keep it rocking.
54 more days to Election Day. What are we doing to try to protect? There's a lot of people trying to keep people from voting. And John Lewis said it best. He says, if you don't think voting is important, why do you think so many people are trying to keep you from doing it? And there's a lot of things out there. It's called voter suppression. Talk about it.
It's incredibly concerning, but we got to press through. You know, when we think about what's at stake, you know, I've been telling people a lot that by the time we get to Election Day, unfortunately, we'll be in a scenario where, you know, about 200,000 plus Americans would have lost their lives because of COVID. And it's unacceptable. And so you wonder what's at stake. The funding for our local small and minority owned businesses, the opportunities for you to go back to school with your kids. Think about how you're trying to figure out childcare, what's happening around housing. And so when we talk about what's going on with voting, yes, absentee voting and vote by mail is a critical element to make it easier. But we also want to say you will have early voting opportunities, everybody. And you have to be very mindful here in New York around the challenges that can happen around affidavit ballots. Please do not let someone tell you that you are not on the roll if you know that you are on the roll. Don't say that they can't find you in the system. Have them look and make sure they find you in the system. So many people had their opportunities blocked from them because of that. And so there are executive orders that are being rolled out, but also, you know, Dr. Lee, you know, in my role in the DNC, we're engaging with our voter protection teams so that everyone can be aware of what you need to do. So to everyone watching and listening, iwillvote.com.
iwillvote.com. I'm writing it down right now.
.com. You can go there. It will show you by state, so not just New York, but any state across the country, the information you need on how to make sure you are able to vote, to protect your right to vote, to register and be engaged in that way. We will not be silent in letting people try to take our vote away because we have to win this election.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, and the people need to know. They need to go to that site and find out exactly the time that they need to go if they're going to go by mail. You got to do that early because you don't want everything to be backed up. And,
we don't want people waiting. I mean, and again, this is what I say to everyone. You really don't have an excuse. You have plenty of time to get registered. You can vote by mail. You can do early voting if you need to go day of and do it safely. But again, iwillvote.com is the site that we've created so you can figure out all the information, not just for you, but for your family members across the country. And just so you can understand, I tell people often, Dr. Lee, Election Day is not just November 3rd. Election Day is the first day a ballot gets to you. And the people down in North Carolina, their ballots started dropping last week. So we're in the move right now.
We're in it right now. We're in it right now. It's like when Harlem Week first started. It was like a couple of days in front of the Harlem State Office building. Then it was Harlem Week, but now it's Harlem Month.
Exactly.
So this is election month, basically, or election year, if you want to take it all the way back.
It's that season. It's that season.
The election season. Now, also, they opened up a couple of arenas across the U.S., 2 of them here in our town, the Barclays Center and Madison Square Garden. They're going to be open for voting on the 24th of October through November 1st, and all-day election day from 6 to 9 p.m. at night.
You know, it's another reminder that the athletes do not just shut up and dribble, right? Being engaged in that way is critical and essential.
Absolutely.
And people, this is what happens. You know, think about this in the last 2+ weeks, how we saw what's been going on in Kenosha. We see what's happening around the country. And I'm so proud of our athletes and our leaders saying enough is enough. And so this is part of that element that's happening there. So we would say, look, everybody, you know, let's not just be entertained. Let's be engaged. Let's get in the game. Let's stop playing. And that's what we can do. And also, when you're trying to figure out more ways to be involved, there are many groups that are doing great work on the ground. You know, Athletes for Impact doing incredible work across the country in what they're having happen. You know, Until Freedom doing incredible social justice work on the ground. You know, people are doing the work. And we want to make sure that you're a part of the process. And lastly, Dr. Lee, something you and I talk about a lot around education, you know, this is why civics matters so much. So I got to shout out, you know, Generation Citizen and what they're doing by empowering the young people to be in the game, as well as New Leaders Council. You know, Generation Citizen mobilizing high school students, New Leaders Council mobilizing our millennials. I'm saying to everybody, don't just talk about it, be about it. And that's what we're doing right now.
That's right. Now, when people go to the ballot box, what safety procedures are in place? What accommodations are made for voters to feel safe during this pandemic?
Well, there definitely will be the 6 feet of distancing. Absolutely will be happening. Beyond that, everyone, you know, need to have on your mask when you go to vote as well. They'll make sure the privacy scanners are in place. They'll make sure that people have the distance outside as well. You'll be, we'll make sure that you're safe. And I think the best way to frame this is, you know, our forefathers, our foremothers, our ancestors, they endured much more to have a chance to vote. I'm sure you can walk outside with a mask to go vote in 2020.
Absolutely. So that's what's happening in the world of politics.
In the world of politics.
That's how we do it on WBLS. Right? DNC Vice Chair, Assemblyman Michael Blake, thank you so much. I know if you need any help, you know, let us know. If we can be of assistance, we'll try to be there.
We need you, Dr. Lee. We need everybody in terms of mobilizing the cause. And so, again, everybody, iwillvote.com. Let's get that out there, and let's make the rounds. You know, there's a lot of communities that still need that awareness as well. And do not forget to fill out the census, everybody, September 30th. We need you.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much. Assemblyman, we appreciate you. We love you. God bless.
Love you. God bless.
Assemblyman Michael Blake, he's also the DNC Vice Chair. We'll take a break and come back with a whole lot more next on Open.
A decade in the making, created in 1790 to allocate our U.S. population and economy, and every 10 years check-in determining our community residents and needs. Women Voices Lead Suffrage Centennial acknowledges another year of elections, while Women in the Heights artists celebrate their 10 years anniversary through Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance guidance to ensure Uptown is recorded through our census count is how we identify our community needs. Although we are living in a social distancing era, thanks to the worldwide internet, we now have the means to hear the popular voices. So don't be left out. Go to my2020census.gov and make sure to be counted.
Welcome back. Our next guest is a representative of Windows of Hip Hop, and she joins us today to share what her organization is doing to promote music, culture, and education in the Bronx schools. Please welcome to the show, Nabilah Yesid. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
How
you for
are you?
having me. I'm well. How are you?
Great, great. Tell us all about it. You're doing some wonderful things in our community, and we want to know more.
Yeah, anything you would like to know, I'm ready to share.
All right.
I've been with Windows of Hip Hop for about 2 years now, and
Yes.
during that time, we've done a lot of amazing projects. So,
Like what? Name some of the projects.
stemming from Fashion Week to
Mhm.
helping renaming a street, 1520 Sedgwick Avenue, to Hip Hop Boulevard, to going into the education system and pairing up with the Department of Education, to building we're actually working on building a studio in public school at this moment.
Wow, all right. And
Yeah.
that's a recording studio?
Yes.
Great, great. What school is that?
PS 55.
That's in Harlem?
No, that's right by Webster.
Webster Avenue in the Bronx. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. Fantastic. And you spoke to the school, you got everything, you got the funding and all that stuff that you need?
Yeah. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Who's working with you?
So we're working alongside with Principal Luis Torres. He's been amazing. He's like all for this. You know, he's a big hip hop fan, and it's nice to see. Yeah, it's nice to see like an educator that's really into the culture. So I think that's really positive as well.
Yeah, he's like Junior. The hip hop. He used to be called the Hip Hop Assemblyman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been working on this for some time now, because people, they're learning more and more about hip hop, and we're in like what, 46 years? I keep forgetting. Is it 46 years of hip hop now or more?
A long time. I believe it's 46 years. I think you got it.
All right. Well, I hope we've been doing it for some time now. So tell us more about the WOHH's partnerships. You partnershiping with anybody?
So in the past, actually last year around this time, we worked with Belova and Macy's, where we did a back to school event, which was so dope, I would say. We gave out school supplies, we gave out gear that had Belova and Windows of Hip Hop. I believe this year we were also working on a couple of partnerships, but you know, because of the times that we're in, a lot of things have to be put on pause. But the biggest event that we had was working with Macy's and Belova. We also did, how could I forget about this? We did
You can't forget about this now.
I can't
forget about it.
We did an event at the Bronx Zoo where we had the Sugar Hill Gang come and perform, which was
Yeah.
2018. So that was great, you know, to see I would say, pioneers of hip hop come out and show out and just kind of represent for the culture.
That's great. Some of the originators.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember some of the rap lyrics to that?
Don't put me on the spot.
I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Oh shucks! But you can rap a little bit, right?
Oh Lord, have mercy!
No,
no, I cannot. No.
You just like to listen to people rap.
I just
right?
like to listen. Yes.
How about if I said, "You see, I work real hard, but before I quit, I'm gonna give you some more of this bobbly. Now I walk around without a care, spending money like a millionaire."
You're much better than I am. Way better. Are you a rapper?
Oh, I used to rap back in the day. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm Bob Lee, as you can see, nobody rocks this joint like me. It's the feeling that I get when I'm on the go. I'll pop more stuff on your radio. It's the feeling that I get when I'm in the house. I'll talk more stuff than Mickey Mouse. I'll rock you high, rock you low, you're mine. I will control. Too hot to handle, too cold to freeze. I got reelected as a nominee. I'm a short shot beat with everybody. I'm in the house. I'm on time. From the coast of California to the shores of Maine. Everybody loves the way I play my game. You see, I got style. I got class, and I don't talk my stuff too fast. You're gonna put me in the hip hop museum?
I think so. I think you belong there.
All right. So you got something coming up you want to tell us about?
Yeah. So right now, like I said, we're partnering up with the Department of Education along with Principal Luis Torres, where we'll be opening up a studio in the school.
That's the latest thing. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's very important because in Windows of Hip Hop, we have 4 elements that we work with. There's the DJ, there's the breakdancing, there's the emceeing, which is poetry, teaching kids poetry. We're going to be like working with them, helping them write lyrics, which essential is poetry. And what else? DJing, poetry, culture. Did I mention fashion?
I think you did.
Well, even if I didn't, fashion, hip hop culture brought such a range of different fashion into the industry, and I think that's important to teach the kids as well. So, but what I'm really excited about is helping the kids with their poetry and writing skills. So that's going to be great.
Well, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Nabilah Yesid. Thank you. And you have a website we can go to check out more?
No, but I am on Instagram. My Instagram name is Nabilah Yesid Official.
Windows of Hip Hop and Education. Nabilah Yesid. It's official.
Yes, it is.
Thanks for hanging out with us, all right?
Thank you so much, Bob Lee.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
God bless. Stay safe.
God
all
bless.
right, we'll take a break. We've got more coming your way next, right here on Open.
decade in the making, created in 1790 to allocate our U.S. population and economy, and every 10 years check-in determining our community residents and needs. Women Voices Lead Suffrage Centennial acknowledges another year of elections, while Women in the Heights artists celebrate their 10 years anniversary through Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance guidance to ensure Uptown is recorded through our census count is how we identify our community needs. Although we are living in a social distancing era, thanks to the worldwide internet, we now have the means to hear the popular voices. So don't be left out. Go to my2020census.gov and make sure to be counted.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee, and our next guest is a registered dietitian representing ShopRite. She's going to join us today to discuss Family Meals Month and the importance of eating healthy. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's important. Please welcome to the show, Allie Sanderson. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So tell us all the wonderful things that you're doing. Of course, you're into healthy eating and healthy living, and you represent ShopRite. So tell us what you're doing there.
Sure. So, my name is Allie. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and wellness guru for ShopRite. We offer lots of great nutrition services for both associates and customers of ShopRite. So we're offering live virtual cooking classes for kids that I'll talk about in a little bit. We're also offering one-on-one nutrition coaching sessions and group classes for adults where we can talk about weight management, diabetes, heart health, for example. We can also help you reformulate your pantry and your fridge for health success. We can also help you come up with meal plans for your family as well.
One-on-one cooking classes and about nutrition. Tell us about that.
Sure. So our group classes are for adults. They're either 4 weeks or 6 weeks in length. We can talk about all kinds of topics to help you with your wellness journey. We customize the plans for you to make sure it fits within your lifestyle. And then our cooking classes for kids are super fun. It's a new live virtual program we've got going on, which I can talk about in a little bit.
Cooking classes for kids. It's not a closing place oven, is it?
No, we might be able to do some there, but it's all virtual.
I went too far back.
From
A close and play oven where you can make the pretzels and all that stuff. I don't know if they still have that. That was a big Christmas item. So you have these classes. How important is that? Healthy eating, healthy living, especially for someone with a degenerative disease like diabetes.
Sure. So healthy eating is super important for anyone, regardless of their health conditions. And this September for Family Meals Month, it's the best time to kind of think about what you're offering for yourself and your family. Studies have shown that family meals really help kids with their school performance and just provide a sense of connectedness and self-esteem and communication skills in a time where everything's really virtual right now. So whenever you can get in the kitchen and try to, choose a healthy meal, I've got some great tips to help you do that.
All right. And what are you cooking up in the kitchen right about now?
So one example that I have for a quick and easy family meal that's tasty, it's nutritious, it's budget friendly. I've got a bowl and basket rotisserie chicken.
Whoa. All right.
Delicious. It's already done. I have a microwave pouch of brown rice. So you've got your whole grain. And then I have some steamable broccoli florets. So for about $12 total, so about $3 per person for a family of 4, you have your protein, you have your vegetable, you have your whole grain. I always encourage starting with at least 3 food groups. And ways to flavor this, in a healthy way, you can either just serve it as is, or you can add some low sodium soy sauce, some ginger and peanuts for like an Asian style flair. Yeah. Or you could add taco seasoning to, put a twist on taco night. So I always try to have these 3 staples every week to just throw together in a pinch for a quick and easy family meal.
I like it, and it'll help cut down on an entertainment budget too, where you don't have to go out to eat. A meal like that, you can spend $40, $50, and if you bring, a couple of other family members, you're going to be paying a whole lot of money. So that's
great. And options have been limited now too, with with everything going on. So it's time to get creative in the kitchen a little bit.
Exactly. Is that chicken hot right about now?
This one's cold now. This is for dinner later.
Well, okay. I was gonna say, if it's hot, can you break me up a drumstick and send it over virtually?
Maybe you can smell it from here. Smells
I
delicious.
can. I have that system, you know. Did you ever try that system? It's a new app. You can smell what the person's cooking in their kitchen.
Did not know that. I haven't tried it.
I
Sounds like a
didn't
great
either.
idea, though.
Yeah.
I wish.
Somebody's going to use it. All right, so you have that thing that's prepared for dinner. Any other tips that you can share with us?
Sure. So to encourage kids to get in the kitchen for Family Meals Month, it's always important to have them try new foods. So my first recommendation is always to start with foods that are already familiar for the kids. So think taco night, right? So kids love tacos, maybe salsa and guacamole. Maybe try adding mango or pineapple to the guacamole to add some fruit in there. You can add fresh herbs like cilantro. So starting with familiar foods is a great way to encourage new flavors.
Allie, I am so hungry right now. I am salivating, and why are you doing this to us? I'm going to head over to my kitchen right after this.
Perfect.
But those are great tips. I like that. You said for $12 you can get that the meal that you mentioned a little while ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $12. I love it because I know I'm going to spend a whole lot if I go out to eat. So
Exactly.
I can get that, bring it in, heat everything up. Rotisserie chicken is already done.
Exactly.
You guys do it right there. What other specials or tips that you can you share with us from ShopRite?
Sure. So another option for Family Meals Month, actually, we're doing them every other Thursday. We've got our virtual kids classes, our cooking classes that I mentioned before. So it's a live virtual kids class that you can join for free on Zoom. The best place to find the information for all of these programs is through the Facebook page for ShopRite Bronx, New York. It's going to have all the information for signups and how to get the recipes and things like that. But these kids classes are fun because it's our team of dietitians. We're cooking live alongside with you. And like I said, the class is free, or you can purchase a box of ingredients ahead of time and cook alongside with us. So I have one of these boxes. Can I show you?
Sure.
All right. So this is just an example of the box that you would get. So
Whoa,
all of your ingredients are in here. Our class coming up next is on September 17th. It's a Thursday. It's Pasta Palooza for Family Meals Month. So we're going to be making spaghetti and meatballs, some roasted Parmesan broccoli, and for dessert, we have a cannoli dip with pita chips. So all of the ingredients to make that would come in this box. And like I said, check out the Facebook page for ShopRite Bronx, New York to get all the information about signing up and getting your box.
Ollie, I don't know if you can hear, but you can hear our BronxNet crew. You can hear their stomachs growling a little bit.
Well, sign up for the class. It's free for any age. You don't have to be a kid.
There you go. You don't have to be a kid.
Best for kids, but you can certainly join us.
Yeah, if you go to ShopRite, can you buy that box?
You do the orders online, and then you can pick them up at ShopRite. Yep.
Oh, great. Okay. So what's in it again? What did we ask for?
So the Pasta Palooza box. This is what's coming up
Ask
next.
for the Pasta Palooza box.
We have the spaghetti. We have some pre-cooked meatballs in here. We've got our broccoli that we're going to roast with some Parmesan, and then we're going to make a cannoli dip for dessert. So healthier twist on an Italian classic.
We thank you for all that you do. I'm just trying to hold back right now, but as soon as we're done, I'm going to the kitchen just to get a little something.
I love it. Cook something. Yeah.
There you go. Ollie, thank you so much. What's that website for ShopRite?
So the best way is to check out the Facebook page for ShopRite Bronx, New York. It's going to have all the information for upcoming adult classes and our kids cooking classes.
There you go. Thank you. Registered dietitian, Allie Sanderson, ShopRite Registered Dietitian. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And we thank you for your service also.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yes, we'll see you soon. We're going to be ordering, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, stay safe. All right, we'll take a break and come back with a whole lot more after I come back from the refrigerator.
special treat this morning, one of the greatest athletes of all time and the fastest woman in the world. We are joined by Tatiana Mcfadden. Tatiana, thank you so much for coming on. It is so great to have you.
Well, thanks for having me.
What a remarkable story. Please share with us a little bit about your background. I think incredible for you to come from a Russian orphanage and have to grow up with spina bifida and eventually sue the state of Maryland to try to get some progress in a special place when it comes to athletes with disabilities.
I was born with spina bifida, and so I didn't have any medical treatment for the first 20 days of my life. And so it was a miracle that I survived. And then shortly after my surgery, I was put into orphanage number 13. That's where I lived there for the first 6 years of my life. And I didn't have any medical treatment and no schooling. And so I did the best thing that I could do, and I got around and I scooted across the floor, or I crawled or walked on my hands. But you know, for me, my attitude was that I wanted to be just like all the other kids. I wanted to go where they were going. I didn't think of myself as anyone different. And then the 6th year changed my life when my mom happened to walk through the door on a pure business trip, not looking to adopt. And so that changed my life forever, coming to the U.S. And a lot of first things happened, getting involved with sports, going to school. I had several surgeries growing up. So yeah, it's been a life journey, but it's been a really good one.
17 medals in the Paralympics, including 7 golds. Like I said, if I was to try to share your story with someone else, I don't think they would believe it.
Yeah, it's definitely feels like a movie, right? You know, I started my Paralympic journey in 2004 as the youngest Paralympic athlete at the time, and I started with just 3 events. So I added an event in each games. And each games got better, and each games changed. You know, in Athens when I came back, there was no celebration for the Paralympic athletes, and you know, I felt like there was especially no equal pay, and we're finally getting equal pay going into Tokyo 2021 games. I feel now more so as an elite athlete than I ever have, and I say that because, you know, especially coming home from Athens, you know, it's like people didn't even know I went, and then your medals didn't count for equal pay. And then in Beijing, it was better. You know, we got crowd support, you know, we got a few more sponsorship, but nothing was like the London, where the attitude and perception really changed of the Paralympics. And they paralleled the Olympics and Paralympics. So they called it like the OP. And that was huge. That was like the game changer, the start of the tipping point, the domino effect of the Paralympics. And then, you know, we hit a little rough spot in Rio, but it turned out to be a fabulous games. But I really think that this movie is going to help. I think it's going to help that it's going to change the attitude and perception of disability while talking about the history of the Paralympics.
I know you have a book about your life, and now, of course, the fans at home can check out this Netflix original documentary, Rising Phoenix, as you mentioned. And you're not just featured in this film, but you're also a producer for the film.
Yes, which is crazy that I got asked to be producer. So 4 years ago, I was talking to Greg Nugent. He works for the IPC, International Paralympic Committee, and we met very first time in Rio, and we after one of my gold medal wins, and we were just, you know, discussing about the Paralympics and the history of it, and you know, where it's been and where it's, you know, the direction that it's headed. And we said, you know, he said, oh, it should be a movie. And I said, yes, like it should be a movie. I completely 100% agree, because it's a story that's never has been told before. And I was like, it needs to be told, because as we're trying to promote the film, you know, we need this history like to be seen by the world. And he was like, yep. And I was like, I'll do anything to like support this film if it's possible. So it was like a fantasy. It was like we just talked about it. It wasn't anything like concrete yet. And then 2 years ago, I got a call from him, and he was like, so I think we're going to be making this movie happen. And I was like, what? Like, seriously? He was like, yeah, we've been talking to different, like, for people to buy the film. I'm really happy that Netflix bought it. They really believed in the film as much as we did, and they were really, really excited about it. So it was the right fit. And then they asked me if I wanted to be producer on it, and they could ask anybody, right? And they said, well, we really admire like your advocacy for the sport, your advocacy for people with disabilities. So my job was to, if we're going to have a documentary featured of all these Paralympic athletes, having them tell their stories, if we're going to be telling the history of the Paralympics, if we're speaking about equality, if we're speaking about disability community, well, we need to hire people with disabilities to work on this film. I feel like the common theme is that like disability is such a taboo thing, and I want to change that. And I feel like also people have a view of what disabled people should look like. And I was like, I also want to change that perception.
I think it's great too that the film is incredibly accessible globally. I mean, 30 languages, it's been dubbed many times. So it's really, you guys did a great job of trying to make it accessible to so many different people across the globe.
Yeah, it's closed captioned in 31. It's in 30 different languages, and it's dubs in 10. So that's huge. And I think that was huge for Netflix as well. So again, when we're talking about accessibility of this film, that was really important as well in our discussion of like when we were going to release this film. Yeah.
Why do you think there is a misconception about para athletes?
Well, I think one is the history of disability. In the United States, it was, a lot of people with disabilities were either on the streets begging with a cap in hand, or they were put in institutions. And so, and that wasn't, an ADA is only 30 years old, and I'm 31, so it's fairly new. So when you talk about like that, perspective, and then you have the Paralympics on top of that, it's like people are trying to learn so much. And so you have to kind of break the stereotypes with disability, physical disabilities, and you have to break the that helps to break the stereotypes for the Paralympics. And media is helping. So we're having more and more media, which is amazing, which is what we need. For me, like I use my social content in such a good and positive way to be able to tell my story, to share about my sport. Marathons have also really helped for me to even talk about the sport even further. So we still have a long way to go, but it's a lot better than what it used to be.
And I believe that Rising Phoenix will go a long way to try to break some of those misconceptions.
I think so. And it's a perfect time to have this film because we're obviously in this global pandemic, and the Paralympics and the Olympics are postponed. So it gives everybody a chance to kind of, to watch it. Second, people are thirsty for sports. They're thirsty for good stories. And it's the perfect time to sit down and watch it on weekends or right after work or, in your own home.
I also think, Tatiana, that you guys could have picked a better name for the film. I know sometimes that might not be considered a big thing, but this concept of, Phoenix is explored early in the documentary, this idea of, live and die and burn and live again. And I feel so many of the athletes in the documentary kind of symbolize that, having that difficulty that we talked about. Life is a fight, the struggles that come with so many of these challenges, but being able to overcome them.
Yeah, exactly. It was the perfect name. So when Bebe mentioned that it was her nickname that she was given, it was like, yep, that's perfect, because it resonates with Jean-Baptiste's story. Every athlete's story, I feel like we all go through, this fire, a death experience kind of at one point, or literally for some. So it's fitting and it's suiting for the film. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, and definitely strongly suggest this documentary to many people at home. They should check it out on Netflix, Rising Phoenix. Thank you so much, Tatiana.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, our next guest is a representative of Visiting Nurse Service of New York, and she's going to be speaking with us about how her organization is working to provide care for vulnerable individuals and families during COVID-19. Please welcome to the show, Michelle Drayton, VNSNY, Hospice Access and HOPE Program Director in Manhattan and the Bronx. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bob. It's great to be here. Great to see you, and delighted about working with you on our upcoming Physicians and Health Leaders Summit for September 15th.
Yeah, well, it's going to be fantastic, I hear, and looking forward to it. We'll speak more on it later on tonight, so we'll do a run through and everything. But give us the gist of what's going on, I mean, with your organization and the work that you do, because you've been doing a lot in the community for some time now.
Yeah, well, the impetus for the summit is really born out of the HOPE program. You and I have spoken about this previously, which is it's actually a hospice outreach program dedicated to focusing on African Americans and Latinos, really trying to address the underutilization of hospice, and really also to address the disparities that many communities of color face when they're accessing care. I think, you know, during this whole COVID-19 pandemic, we learned a lot about our healthcare system and what some of the gaps are, and how to address them. This particular summit is bringing together, you know, high-level physicians and healthcare leaders to talk about some of the problems and some of the deficiencies within the healthcare system that impact people's ability to access care.
What are some of the problems and the deficiencies that you can speak of today?
Well, we're going to be looking at some of the access issues. So, for instance, you know, do you have a primary care provider? If you were, you know, had symptoms of COVID, did you have someone to actually call and to discuss whether or not you should get tested? Did you have access to testing? And if you needed to get a test, did you know that there was free testing available? So, you know, also there are issues, as you know, in our community, particularly as it relates to vulnerable populations. We have issues related to insurance coverage, people who are either uninsured or underinsured. They may not have a primary care provider at all. On the hospital side, you know, there was issues related to personal protective gear. If you ended up needing to come into a hospital setting, oftentimes you were not able to bring a family member or an advocate with you. And so that has significantly impacted both the experience that patients have, and then of course the impact on their family. So this summit is very important, not only as a sort of examination of what we're doing in time, but to look at what we need to be doing going forward, how we as healthcare providers, policymakers, and community leaders and consumers need to be working together to improve the system so that we don't have the sort of disproportionate rates of COVID-19, not only the disease in our community, but also the high rates of mortality, people dying at higher rates than other populations because of access.
Yeah, but there's a couple of reasons for that. I mean, there's the degenerative diseases that people have been talking about, whether it be diabetes or asthma and all those high blood pressure. It seems to have attacked those areas.
That's COVID-19. That's a good point, Bob. I mean, clearly, you know, if you have predisposing health problems, like you mentioned, you know, COVID-19 is a virus. It's primarily a respiratory virus. So that if you have predisposing health problems, like asthma, like cardiac disease, you may very well end up with a more severe case of COVID-19. But let's even talk about getting the disease, just in general, whether you have pre-existing conditions or not. I think, the issue is, apart from that, why are there such high rates of COVID-19 within our communities? What's happening within our communities that's making us more at risk even just to get infected? And so, the physicians on the panel, as well as other, health leaders will speak to that issue as well. Whether it's, a crowded home situation, whether we're more likely to be in jobs that are putting us at risk of exposure. We have so many people who have gotten this disease or who have died from the disease, who are our frontline healthcare workers. They're our certified nursing assistants. They're our home health aides. They're the nurses that are out every day doing the work and are, as a result of it, more at risk.
I tell you, our frontline people risking their lives and sometimes losing their lives to go on helping us living our lives. We gotta continue to applaud you guys. You mentioned a little while ago about the underutilization of the hospice program. Talk about that.
Right. So, the Visiting Nurse Service of New York, we're a 127-year-old organization. We are the largest home health care organization in the country. We've had a hospice program for 37 years. And as you well know, I know you've had personal experiences with your mom as well as myself, that, end of life care is so critical. And there is a point, that we will all be at where, there's nothing more medically that a physician or healthcare provider can do for us. And there is the opportunity for people to access hospice, which is care at home. It is comfort care. It is pain management. There is a coordinated and interdisciplinary team of healthcare providers, social worker, nurse, physician, spiritual care counselors that could actually provide you with comfort care in the home. Unfortunately, this incredible program goes underutilized by African Americans and Latinos, and also Asians and Native Americans. I think, this speaks to disparities. Why is there a gap in utilization, whether we're accessing primary care or we're accessing specialty care or we're accessing end-of-life care? We know for our community, when you look at, racism and other things like social determinants of health, where we live, work, and play, has a major impact on how we use services and how we live our lives. And so this program, the HOPE program, really sort of, puts a spotlight on how can we increase access. And so we're going and working with the community. We're working with faith-based leaders. We're working with institutions like Harlem Hospital, like Mount Sinai, to make sure that there is adequate staffing in place to help people access care.
Yes. And that's one of the things that people are afraid to talk about. They don't want to talk about end of life situations where, hey, where are they going to bury me? Or where are they going to, all of those things pertaining to that. It's like,
exactly.
I don't want to talk about that. But
it's a little bit of a taboo issue.
Yeah, but it's going to have to come up. You're going to have to talk about it because, one thing that the pandemic did was make you realize that there's a whole lot of things that you need to put in place that, things can happen just like that. And you need to have those things in order.
Absolutely. I just wanted to just make that point that you just said, the whole issue of advanced care planning, even for people, let's take, this pandemic where you do end up, you go to the hospital, you're feeling short of breath, you're having palpitations, and you end up being diagnosed with COVID-19. you're in a hospital situation, but you have no advanced care plan, no documentation that says, if I'm unable to speak for myself, this is what I want and this is what I don't want.
And sometimes you don't have time to think about that or prepare because things are happening so fast.
Absolutely.
So you gotta have those things in order. They're going to wrap me right now, but where can we go to get more information on what we're doing?
Okay, so yes, absolutely. So for the summit, for the physicians and health leader summit, everyone who is concerned about health and well-being should attend. They go to basically www.vnsny.org/Project Hope Summit. And they could also contact me. They could Michelle Drayton at VNSNY.org. And hopefully you'll have that information posted.
And I believe this is going to be covered by BronxNet.
That's correct. So this is great. And so we invite people to actually be a part of this Zoom meeting. It's from 9 a.m. to 10:15 on September 15th. And they'll have an opportunity to chat with not only you, but healthcare providers and other people who are really responsible for making decisions about the system and how we provide care.
Michelle Drayton, VNSNY, Hospice Access and HOPE Program Director of Manhattan and the Bronx. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for tuning in and checking it all out. If you want to continue with us, you can go to bronxnet.org and all the information will be right there and you can continue to view us too. That about does it for me, the Dr. Bob Lee. I'll catch you on the radio on 107.5 WBLS. Always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose a choice and let the choice control the chooser. And remember, whether they say you can or you can't, either way, you're right. Thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. I'll catch you another day, another way. I love you all. Peace.